The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. And of course, is today's edition of The Big Issue. And as usual, I'm your regular host, George Jagba is my name. With me in the studio, our in-house analyst, Chibuzo Okaibe and Tunde Oguntola.
Thank you for having me.
And together we'll be taking on the big issue of today, which has to do with the delay in signing of Electoral Bill and matters arising. President Muhammadu Buhari was expected to sign the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022 today. But failure to do so may spell disaster for the electioneering process. And of course, there is a hitch. And the hitch has to do with another clause, 48, inserted by the National Assembly. And this may delay the signing of the the Electoral Bill. And of course, Buhari and the National Assembly members were said to have met to discuss on the Electoral Bill. And it was agreed at the meeting that clause 48 must be expunged before the bill will be signed. Or even if the president signs the bill, the National Assembly will have to amend the bill, the act again, to expunge that particular clause. And of course, the clause is such that bars some political appointees from seeking party positions through primaries or even go as delegates, statutory delegates for convention. But the presidential spokesman, Femi Adesina, today issued a statement saying that some interest groups are cashing in on what they consider a delay in the signing of the Electoral Bill into law by the president to foment civil disorder and muddy the waters. According to Adesina, he said it is on record that the amended bill was sent to the presidency on January 31, 2022, which means that the executive could do due diligence on it till March 1 as prescribed by the Constitution. Adesina argued that the proposed legislation that has to do with the electoral fortunes of the country needs to be thoroughly scrutinized and be made as near perfect as possible. He asked those playing cheap politics with it to hold their peace, know that the right thing will be done within the lawful time. Well, this is where we are on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022. It is still before the president. And of course, this time around is clause 48. The reason for the delay, that clause 48. That clause tends to bar some political appointees from even seeking for political positions through election. And of course, it also bars them to go to convention as delegates. Is that enough to still delay the signing of this bill?
Thank you, Josh, for that question. But it just shows that we are not really serious as a country to sign the Electoral Bill into law. Sequel to the fact that this bill has been with President Buhari. Just in 2018, it was rejected almost 4 times. Late last year, too, the bill was with him. Besides the issue of direct primaries, insecurity, amongst others, he also declined assent to the bill and returned it back. Further works to be saying that to sideline some set of people, as well as to be too expensive to run. That's the issue of direct primaries, and he called for even not just for them to include indirect primaries, but to also include the option of consensus. You understand? My own take on this issue is that political class are playing chess with us as Nigerians. The political class are not really showing the willpower to move on to the rightful place we ought to be amongst Committee of Nations, as a leader in the continent in Africa, we opt to be using technology for our election at the moment. You see, each time there was a coup in any part of Africa, Nigeria is always the big brother going to say, oh, they will need for them to return the country back to democracy. But what are we doing in our own side? What are we doing to show that, yes, we are really the big brother in terms of the passage of the electoral bill that has been before the president? Just before the 2019 election, President Buhari cited that it was too close, that secret to the fact that it was too close, that he cannot really study the bill properly, and he declined assent to it. You see, there's been a lot of back and forth to this. Why can't those people who are advisors to the president do the needful at once and sign this into law? You know, there is always a stipulated time for elections. Yeah. At the moment now, I think election is held every February on each electionary year, like since 23 next year, either February 18 or 20 or 22. So, but if we could not achieve this, INEC is already claiming that it will affect their timeline. You understand? So we just need to do this right ahead of 2023 election so that we can have at least a near perfect election.
Thank you very much, Tunde. Chibuzo, you see, this particular clause 48 is said to infringe on the constitutional rights of certain category of political appointees. I think ministers inclusive, some special advisors and the rest, from contesting elections and voting as delegates, either at conventions or congresses, after it is being assented to. And it is believed that governors are not comfortable with the clause because they believe some vested interests who are determined to tinker with the electoral process in favor of their godfathers are behind this. Report has it that it was a principal officer in the House of Rep that inserted that particular clause. And then from the rumor, this time around, I call it gossip. Do you understand? The gossip here is that he said that from that report, it's likely it is the Speaker of the House, Bajabi Emela. And of course, he does all this because he was paving the way for Tinubu. That one is gossip anyway. What would you say about this?
It's not confirmed.
No, it's not confirmed. I'm just saying what not some Nigerians are thinking.
Thank God it's gossip. I wouldn't want to engage in gossip. I want to fuel that gossip. But I think it is. I'm at a point where if the bill gets signed, I'll be shocked. You know, that is where I am at this time. Because as much, I think I've said that here before, that at the risk of sounding like a pessimist, I don't think this administration is open to signing this bill. I sound as a pessimist, not necessarily because I want that to happen, but when one sees reads the body language of this administration and reflects that with the reality on the ground, it indicates that they are not ready to, do anything about our electoral laws as they stand. I think they just want to ride out this using the old pattern that we've always used, and it is really sad because one cannot understand what this whole delay thing is about anymore. Given that the governors and the lawmakers have been at this for a long time, that was how they smuggled in the mode of primary thing, out of the blues. Initially, it was the transmission thing. So much debate, took a lot of time on that. Then the next thing was the mode of primary. That took a whole lot of debate, took a whole lot of time to debate all of that. And now we're having this new clause now that has also been smuggled in. So it shows you the mindset of the political class, like Tunde did point out. The subtle battle between governors and lawmakers. Yes, it has been raging for a long time. In fact, and it didn't even start with this administration, by the way. It has always been there. And when you have a transition election coming up like we are having now, where you have most governors leaving the seat, leaving their serving out their constitutionally mandated tenure, and likewise the president not being on the ballot, we are most likely to have an intense friction between lawmakers and governors. You know, so at that level, it is not surprising that we are seeing what we are seeing. All of these subtle moves by lawmakers to see how they can edge out, governors and so. So
withhold the power, their power.
So the point I'm trying to make is that shouldn't in any way affect what the president should do one way or the other. What I expect the president to, because as it stands, he's the final, he's the last bus stop of sorts on this matter now, as far as it's concerned. He should look beyond whatever internal bubbles governors and lawmakers are having and look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture, which is, for once, let us have an electoral system that does away with all of these manual things. We are in a digital age, for goodness sake. It is unfortunate that we are still talking about this at this level of technology at this time, where, and I use that reference always. In the US now, you have individuals pushing the frontiers of space. That is the level of technological advancement other countries are looking at. They are not even talking about that. What we are still deliberating on here was, how do we do transfer of
election results,
part of the other? And I think that is, for me, still at the heart of all of this drama that is playing out. And when one listens to what Wiki has been saying for a long time, you want to see reasons with what he's saying. Yes, he's from the opposition, but when he puts it out like that, and you weigh what he says with what the government appears to be doing, you might not be too, averse to what he's saying. And he has been saying that the only reason why they won't sign that thing is because of the transmission thing that is in there. So when you look at it, it's mind-boggling that the president wouldn't want to, at least for once, prove people wrong and say, okay, I'm going to do. So that's why I keep saying, if this thing gets signed, I'll be surprised that it is signed, which shouldn't be. But that is where we are. And if you read the statement by our guy Additional, it's, come on, nobody is saying the time does not have the latitude of time as provided in the Constitution to do what he has to do, which is March 1. But we are stressing on the urgency. Urgency is what we are stressing on. What other work does he have to do on this bill, for goodness sake? He gave an instruction the last time, not instruction, he gave reasons why he wouldn't, append the last time. Those were made. Yes, they included this one. Should we take the whole of 30 days for him to point out a fresh thing that he feels is not good again? Because that was what we saw with the last one. Until the last day was when he now said, if you want to do this, you do it. If you don't want to do it, you say you're not doing it. Then we know where we are. I think that's the point.
Well, let's just quickly take a short break. And of course, as we do so, we'll be expecting our viewers to send in their comments to help shape the conversation on the big issue. Don't go offline. We'll be back shortly.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We're still on the big issue in Leadership Podcast. And of course, the big issue is the delay by President Muhammadu Buhari in signing the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022, which Chibuzo was saying something before we went for break. The presidency today is alleging that some interest group are cashing in on what they consider a delay in the signing of the bill into law by the president to foment civil disorder and muddy waters. And of course, I'm sure that the presidency is not actually referring to the civil society organization, because these were the first set of Nigerian, the first persons who were able to identify certain things. The CSOs and the opposition political parties, they say they were even smelling a rat after coming up with some certain clauses. They say they found in that bill, which if passed, will spell disaster for the electoral process in the country. So they identified some of those gray areas, some of those in the electoral bill, that at the end of the day, they say the thing must be addressed before it's signed. And that's where they picked it up. So now, with the presidency coming now to say that it is some interest groups that are cashing in on what they consider a delay in the signing of the budget. And we now get ground. Yes, but wait, the electoral bill, sorry. And what is happening now? Are we not beginning to enough to suspect that the APC and even the presidency are actually delaying this budget because they wouldn't want to give the country a new electoral law before the 2023 presidential poll?
Whichever way, the president is defining his legacy, how we remember when he did all this, particularly with regards to the electoral system. That's the long and short of the whole matter. It will get to a point where Nigerians will just move on. To get to a point where Nigerians will just move on and say, okay, it does appear as if the president is not ready to sign this. So let's just move on, and brace for and engage the system better. And I think that is perhaps where Nigerians should be looking, in the direction Nigerians should be looking right now. Because if you keep investing hope that he's going to append this piece of legislation this piece of law, this legislation that will deepen our democratic process, and he doesn't do, what options do we have? I think Nigeria should begin to look in that direction, and the civil society should also start looking in that direction, because so that we are not caught exhausting all our energies on making him see reasons why he should append this bill. Let us invest energies in ensuring that people come out and participate in the elections in 2023. Because at the end of the day, that is what it's all about. The existing laws that we have, yes, they are not perfect, but can we go ahead and do much more sensitization and make the best use of it? Is that possible? If it is possible, why not? Why don't we explore that? Because waiting for Chief Obasanjo, former president, said something. He said, if you're expecting much, although he made reference to, he was referring to the security situation. If you wait on the president to do anything new about it, you're beating a dead horse. Perhaps, if you keep waiting on him to do anything on this, it's just possible we'll be beating a dead horse as well.
Well, thank you very much.
But I'm quoting Obasanjo now. I'm not using
You're not quoting yourself. Well, today, you see, INEC had come out before to sound a note of warning. Its preparation for the 2023 election is hinged on the electoral bill sent to the president. It is signed into law before it can be able to kickstart preparations for the 2023 election. But my question is now, with the issue here, most Nigerians are wondering, what if the president fails to sign the new electoral bill into law? What are the implications? Because wait, remember that we have an old law. So does it mean that the 2023 election cannot be conducted with the Electoral Act 2010?
Well, it would be illogical for us to say that we cannot conduct our election with the Electoral Act of 2020 because it's already a law in Nigeria. So, a stitch in time, they say, saves nine. You understand? I would advise the Nation Electoral Body to look at the passage of the 2022 Electoral Bill as option B for them. At the moment, I would say they should work towards the law at hand in preparing for 2023 elections so that they will not be caught in the web where they cannot do something further. You understand? This is laughable. You understand? It's laughable that we are still in this dilemma as a nation. You understand? So, since 1960 till date, for instance, Nigeria is still battling with erratic power supply. You understand? All leaders, both from the APC, PDP, they failed us woefully to deliver on this critical infrastructure that can help us to boost our infrastructure as a nation, to make us compete with other nations of the world. Just the way we're also becoming a laughing stock on the issue of this 2022 electoral bill. Buhari needs to sign this bill if at all is very serious about it. Sign this bill for us. You know, when there was a heated debate in the National Assembly over the issue of the electronic transmission of results, you understand? So you already see, like, you can forecast ahead that there's vested interest in this bill. So the ruling party will feel that, oh, if they pass this and they want to rig election, it will be practically impossible for them because Nigerians are already seen the result from the polling booths. You understand? So when all this, but however, amidst outcry for Nigeria, okay, yes, they allowed it to go. Just remember, during that period, too, NCC was also dragged in to tell us if the whole part of the nation is covered by 3G, 4G, or 5G. You understand? So, but at the end of everything, it's that truth always prevails. Truth prevailed, and they said a vote of Congress of pass on INEC that yes, they can do this, they can deliver. So, my own advice is let's leave politics aside and do the needful. This bill should be assented by the president. You understand? Instead of every day when they pass the bill to you, you bring up just a line out of it and send it back. After 2-3 months, they'll send it back to you. You understand? All these things is just showing that the president is not having that political will to sign all this. Before the issue of clause 48 was put forward today, when he said he won't sign it, equal to the fact that the direct primary clause is not going to be welcomed by everybody. Wasn't it there? So we'll keep bringing up new issues every day till President Buhari will leave government. So he should do the needful.
Thank you very much.
If he refuses to sign this one and they remodel it again, I can almost bet that they will look for another clause. Maybe this one is 48.
48 now.
They will not bring like 58.
58.
And put one dramatic thing there again and we'll start all over it.
The thing is very worrisome. And that is even why Nigerians are worried that every time it goes to the president's table, in 2018 also, it came there and he said, no, he can't sign the bill because it was too close to the 2019 election. And for, I think, how many for 5 consecutive times?
4 times.
4 times.
And it was rejected.
We have been seeing this, and of course, it calls for worry, and that is why Nigerians are worried. Well, we're waiting. The presidency has issued a statement saying that those interest groups who are cashing in on the delay to actually paint the Buhari administration in bad light should desist from doing so, that the president will sign it. He has the time to act between now and March 1. Well, let's see how it goes. But we'll be waiting anxiously, the way Nigerians are actually waiting anxiously to see how it comes up. Thank you for keeping tab with us. And of course, I thank our in-house analysts for actually addressing the big issue. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of The Big Issue. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.